Or black, because black's a fun canvas to work with too, because then you don't have to paint everything. You can just do like the negative space, if you will. But I like just being able to, create. Because like the duck camos right there, that's a couple grand on StockX, you know what I mean? So
this is what he making right there.
We'll report back.
That's what those gonna look like. You see, this one's still white and green.
Yeah, they just started out as all white. I was particularly fond of the fact that they offered this one.
Oh, it was an all white shoe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like for me, I just look at it as a canvas. Instead of buying a canvas for a painting, it's just the canvas is the shoe. The first is learning all the materials and knowing what to use on what surfaces, and then applying just your general painting skills and things like that. Then it gets into the creativity, you know what I mean? Customizing and endless possibilities.
So will Nike have an issue with your rendition, or are they flattered by your creations?
I mean, I'm sure somewhere somebody's a little pissed off that there's customizers, but there's so many people doing it that it's such a massive part of the culture that what's actually happened is Nike has done several releases that has come from ideas that they stole from customers.
Boom, boom. If you tuned into me watching Gully TV, we have a special Fashion Bomb return. This is your varsity suit. You was JV last time.
Yeah.
That was our first episode, first Fashion Bomb episode ever.
Yeah.
I stepped the dribble up. World premiere. Look at here. You're doing kicks now. We've always had a very, very innate passion for colors, art, and shoes, and you fortunately
I found a way to tie it all together. Yes.
So how long you been doing this, man?
What
was your first? And keep it real too, because nobody just tries this out of the blue. You probably tried to do a pair of kicks growing up. Did you paint a pair of kicks growing up?
Yeah. First and foremost, when I was a kid, being a skateboarder, there was always a DIY method to taking a marker and just wanting to scribble all over your shoes. And I, obviously, being a graffiti artist, had gotten into letter styles and stuff, so I definitely had taken markers and paints to different shoes over the course of time. Right. Problem is, most of those acrylic paints are not made for shoes, and so no matter how good or cool you ever made the artwork look, it only had so much shelf life. Right. If you wore it a few times, heaven forbid you skated in a pair of shoes or whatever, and then be cracking all off and chipping, and nothing was ever really permanent, you know what I mean? Right. So most people would do up a cheap pair of shoes for a party or something like that. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely some history with it, but over the last few years, you know what I mean, especially with the popularity on Instagram, the more high-end boutique aspect of customizing shoes and just clothes in general has gotten real popular, because clearly it's a very photo ready type of product that can go well with Instagram and things like that.
Right.
So I was kind of hip to it, and a fan of several artists. I think 2 or 3 years ago, I gave a stab at a pair. That was, I think, the closest that I ever came to using the actual materials that you're supposed to. But again, it was kind of a half-assed attempt.
Right.
But about a year ago is when I got real serious with it, and I did all my homework and found the right products to be purchasing first and foremost, right. and started applying my skills to like older pairs of shoes that I was just kind of restoring and repimping out a little bit.
Right.
And then about 6 months ago is when I started taking it to brand new shoes and becoming a little bit more of an actual customizer that can either apply a concept or somebody's idea, you know. And like we had been stating before, I kind of just stick with a little bit more simple color blocking, classic silhouettes, things like that. I try to make customs that don't look like they're customs.
Right.
Once in a while you get something like this. It's a little bit more out of the just freestyle, have some fun.
Tell me about this pair right here.
It was influenced by the early 2000s Pharrell board flips. That was like the precursor to the ice cream. And at the same time, he was pairing up with Bape, the first run of Bapes, which came in every color.
This style shoe which looks like probably a low top blazer or something. Was this conventionally an actual skateboard favorite shoe?
As far as skateboarding, it's just a casual shoe. The actual sole and everything does have DNA from the blazer. So it actually, at one point in life, was probably considered a low-top basketball shoe.
Okay.
By today's standard, it's nothing more than a walk-around shoe that actually has the comfort insoles. So it's intended to just be a comfortable type of thing.
So this pair of shoes was white.
Yes, all white.
This whole shoe was white.
Whole thing.
And you even painted the tongue,
insoles, everything.
So does the same paint that you would use on the upper, the same paint fabric paint that you would use on the
ultimately the paint is this Angelus leather paint. That is the base color and pigmentation at factory standard. Out of the bottle, it's intended to go on leather.
Right.
To manipulate it to go to fabric and or a harder plasticky type of surface, you have to put in a fabric medium and or a hardening agent, and know how to blend the ratio to the right mixture.
Let me ask you about the materials that they're making shoes out of today.
Yeah.
Are they using a synthetic leather?
Yes, there are some synthetics that are definitely being used. The cost effectiveness from, the manufacturing standpoint, it's kind of why even Jordan Brand and things have gotten some criticism over the years, because these different makes and models of the shoes keep being released. The price keeps going up, but inevitably the cost and the materials diminishes and goes down. So with the last couple years, we've actually seen the trend start to reverse it, and Nike's started to go back and make good on that and bringing back better quality leather, bringing back the...
So Nike was actually participating in this pleather thing?
I mainly only...
and that was just a manufacturing secret or something like that?
Yeah, I think I think you can't really blame anybody like they were trying purposely to do anything to pull wool over anyone's eyes. I think much like why the size of candy bars from 1982 till now have decreased in size a little bit, even though the cost has gone up, or why the bag of chips.
Snickers don't seem to be as big as they.
No, not at all. There's not
Snickers used to be a big.
Yeah,
one of the bigger.
Even the bite-sized ones, like they're minuscule. So I don't know what they're saying, but yeah, I think just over time, unfortunately, there has been a cheapening of product, and there has been a little bit of a quality standard that may have gone by the wayside a little bit. I do think that Nike and some of these companies are starting to realize that the sneaker culture has gotten to a place that is a very large, credible commodity with a lot of money being invested in it, with things like StockX and Stadium Goods and stuff like that. There's shoes that are selling, for obnoxious amounts of money on the resale game. And everything's based off of resale now. There isn't a lot of room to make cheap product anymore.
When you create something like this, which is a Tiffany style, and give me some history on the actual Tiffany design. And when I say Tiffany design, is this turquoise or teal associated with the Tiffany brand?
That specific color that I used on that shoe is actually just a straight up turquoise. So it is just a little teeny bit tonality off from the original gift box blue. However, Angelus does make an exact 100% replica of that blue. I purposely chose to use the turquoise because I thought it just pops a little bit more.
Right.
And if you put the two next to each other, because I have the original Dunks, it doesn't really look that much different.
What happened to the Dunk
in recent
production? Why can't we go in stores and buy? Just 15 years ago, you could go in a store like Foot Locker and you might see a pair of Dunks in there.
Yeah, well, it's definitely turned into the hype beast rage right now. In the early 2000s, it's the Dunk and the Air Force One in tandem that kind of helped sneaker culture become what it is now, because we saw a lot of colorways that were being introduced. The Nike Dunk also had a little bit of help from the skateboarders with the SB Dunk when it got adapted to skateboarding.
Somebody told me that that's primarily what happened to the Dunk. It was consumed or swallowed by the skateboard.
A little bit, yeah. It's who put what we would know as the backstories. So something like the Tiffany Dunk, like where a shoe would get a backstory to have a concept like that. Or, you see the Dunk that looks like Freddy Krueger. Like that was a skateboarder's actual signature model shoe that looked like Freddy Krueger. And so there's a lot of these sneakerheads that are just like, oh, that's the Freddy Krueger shoe. That was a skateboarder's signature model, at one time. So why?
What skateboarder was it?
I don't even know off the top of my head.
Right.
I'm ignorant to that, unfortunately. But, a lot of even what we're seeing now with customizing and whatnot did come from the Dunk and the Air Force One and the colorways. It was the same shoe repetitively over and over and over. But yeah, go back, I don't know how many years ago, the Dunk kind of just turned into, even after the skateboard push thing there, just kind of went back to this weird place where no one even talked about it or really thought about it. And then in 2019, it seemed like Nike started to introduce a few random colorways, just drop them here or there, and the popularity kind of grew. And recently, Nike Dunks have been like one of the most highly sought after shoe that Nike has out.
I need me a pair of Syracuse orange and white. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Speaking of the Q's, somebody's gonna come after you for this. This looks better than the actual Air Force One that they did in this colorway, man. Shout out to the Detroit Tigers, the Chicago Bears, the University of Illinois. Put a Kendall Gill jersey on with this
right. Kendall Gill, why I haven't heard that?
How much? Yeah, man, it's hip hop, sports, and fashion over here 100% of the time. I got a chance to do a mashup myself and combine my passions, hip hop and basketball, and you had a dribble. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you giving me some of the fine basics, the elementary, the condensed version of creating these masterpieces, man. We can't leak it all to y'all. Tell them where they can find you if they want all of this.
You can find me on Instagram at EOC_store, Elements of Change, on Big Cartel. My actual Instagram is Natask _official. Pretty easy to find.
Right. I'm Gully TV, and I want to copyright violate this whole video with this Google. Turn that up, Joe. We're going to just trash the whole video. Follow me on Instagram, The Real Gully TV, man. Follow me on Twitter at GullyTV1. Until next time, signing off. Hip hop, sports, and fashion at its finest. Gully TV. Peace.